Welcome to Science Easy Tech channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about legal issues in mental health nursing. So this was taken from the subject mental health nursing, which comes for third year students. So this is Unit 14. This is my part A video. This video will be useful for Bsc Nursing students and post-basic Bsc Nursing students, as well as students who are studying MSc Nursing in Psychiatry specialty. Before moving on to the topic, if you are new to Science Easy Tech channel, just take a moment to subscribe our channel and also to press the notification bell icon in order to get connected with our latest updates. Let's move on to the topic. Indian Mental Health Act. So this Indian Mental Health Act was drafted, that is was formulated by the Parliament in the year 1987, but it came into effect in all states and union territories of India in April 1993. So before April 1993, after its inception in the year 1987, only few states are having this Indian Mental Health Act, but whole India, it has been implemented all over Indian states as well as union territories. The Indian Mental Health Act has been implemented from the year April 1993. This act replaces the Indian Lunancy Act of 1912. So before Indian Mental Health Act, what was the act is Indian Lunancy Act, which was formulated in the year 1912, which was replaced by Indian Mental Health Act in 1987, and the act has been implemented all over the country in all states and union territories in the year April 1993. So what is the reason? So why from Indian Lunancy Act, why they have formulated Indian Mental Health Act? So the reasons are the attitude of the society towards mentally ill. See previously how the attitude of the people, negative attitude or social stigma will be there. Slowly it is changing. So they have formulated into Indian Mental Health Act. So the attitude of the society has been changing. So many mentally ill patients are also arising. Okay. So they have formulated this Indian Mental Health Act. It has been become outmoded with the rapid advancement of medical sciences. See in Indian Lunancy Act, so much thing has been improved in Indian Mental Health Act, because science is also advancing, medical field is advancing, technology is advancing, and more number of patients are also is there. Okay, so in order to that, if you are going to follow this old Indian Lunancy Act, which has been outdated, so you have to go for newer mental health acts. That's why every 5 years we are having budget revisions. Similarly, INC, if you are taking into nursing education also, you have syllabus revision periodically. Okay, same thing which have been learned 20 years back or 10 years back or 30 years back, which will not be implemented in the present scenario. So recently also in the syllabus also we have revision in INC nursing syllabus, like that. Even in health acts also there should be revisions. That's why they have revised this act from Indian Lunancy Act to Indian Mental Health Act. So what are the objectives of the Indian Mental Health Act? To regulate admission into psychiatric hospital and psychiatric nursing homes. See, if you want to get admitted in a normal hospital, the procedure will be different. But for a psychiatric hospital, the procedure, the admission procedure, the discharge procedure, okay, will be different in both psychiatric hospitals and psychiatric nursing homes. To protect the society from the presence of mentally ill persons, sometimes the mentally ill persons may be dangerous. Sometimes the society can be dangerous to the mentally mentally ill patients. Sometimes the mentally ill persons can be dangerous to the society. So it is vice versa. So you have to protect the society from the presence of mentally ill persons. Then to protect citizens from being detained in psychiatric hospitals or nursing homes without sufficient cause. See, you cannot, unless and until the patient is suffering from mental illness, you can make the patient to receive the services of the mental health institutions, but voluntarily you cannot take a normal person and you cannot put them in the mentally ill hospital stating that these people are mentally ill. So for that only the laws, everything, suppose if you are telling that the patient is behaving abnormally or something, also the psychiatrist has to check thoroughly whether the person is really suffering from mental illness or it is some something you are saying like that. To regulate maintenance charges of psychiatric hospitals. So maintenance charges, so some state government funds will be given, some central government funds will be given to psychiatric hospitals, or sometimes the psychiatric hospitals will be some private hospitals, means you have to pay. So with regard to the norms, rules, regulations, policies, as well as for running the psychiatric hospitals either in government setup or private setup, what is the state contribution, what is the central government contribution, so how to maintain a psychiatric hospitals, the cost of maintenance, okay, drugs, everything will be there, no staffs, payments and all. So that and all will be discussed in this mental health act. Next, to provide facilities for establishing guardianship of mentally ill person who are incapable of managing their own affairs. Suppose if the person is having any relatives or any guardian, okay, suppose you, if you don't know the identity of the person, if no one is there to take care of the person, so the government, the court itself will be appointing a legal guardian for that particular mentally ill person. So in order to dispose that property, suppose if the mentally ill person is having some property, okay, suppose in all these matters and all, the court will appoint a legal guardian if the person is not going to have any guardian on his or her own or any relatives. Okay, so next is to establish central and state authorities for mental health services. Already I have told centrally who is responsible in central government wise, and state government who is responsible for looking after mentally health services. Next is to regulate the powers of the government for establishing, licensing and controlling psychiatric hospitals. See here, suppose if government means, okay, so government norms, government rules, regulations, they will be following. Suppose if your private clinic you have to start, if your private nursing home you have to start, or if your private mentally health institution you have to start, mental psychiatric hospital you have to start in private setup, so there will be some norms, rules and regulations, some statutory bodies will be giving some guidelines, everything you have to follow. So that simply you cannot go and I am going to take care of a psychiatric ill patients, means the government, no one will give permission. So how you have to proceed for getting the license, okay, that and all is given in this law. Then to provide legal aid to mentally ill person, suppose if the person is mentally ill, so legally, okay, he has to get some financial aid or some physical aid, okay, or some support, or for example a legal guardian also can be there, like that and all. So how this and all is going to be taken care by means of Indian Mental Health Care Act. So what are all the salient features of the act? So the act is having 10 chapters and 98 sections. So how many chapters are there? 10 chapters are there and 98 sections are there. So in this video we are going to see only 4 chapters, first 4 chapters, remaining from 5 to 10 chapters in my next video I will be explaining. So first we will see chapter 1. It contains preliminary information, that is the definitions are given. What is the definition of a psychiatric hospital or a psychiatric nursing home? What is the definition of mentally ill person? What is the definition of psychiatrist? What is the definition of reception order? Okay, so here when we tell the psychiatrist, many will be telling mental doctor. It's not mental doctor. He is not mental. Actually, he is a person who is taking care of mentally ill patients. So what you have to do, clearly the definition, what is a psychiatrist person, who is a psychiatrist person, definition of mentally ill person, and what is reception order. Reception order means when admission and all comes, no, sometimes the person will be produced before the magistrate, and they will be getting order from the court, so that and all will be discussed in later slides. And what is psychiatric hospital or nursing home definition. So next is outdated definition. So in the Indian Lunancy Act, there are some definitions. In Indian Mental Health Act, that is the new thing, there are some new definitions. So what are the older definitions? So if the person is mentally ill, they will be telling as lunatic. But now we are telling it as mentally ill person. See, previously under they will be telling Kilpak Mental Hospital, which is in Chennai. But what is the actual name of the hospital? You should not take Kilpak Mental Hospital. Instead of that, Institute of Mental Health, Kilpak. Like that they have changed. Okay. So here, mentally ill person is the new term what we are using. So mental hospitals, okay, previously psychiatric hospitals they are calling as lunatic asylum, but now they are calling it as psychiatric hospitals. Okay. Suppose if a psychiatric person has committed, mentally ill person has committed any crime, they are called as criminal lunatic. But now we are calling them as mentally ill prisoner. So the old term is lunatic. Now the new term is mentally ill person. The old term is lunatic asylum. Now the new term is psychiatric hospital. The old term is criminal lunatic. Now the new term is mentally ill prisoner. Next is chapter 2. Establishment of central and state authorities for regulations and coordinations of mental health services. So establishment of central and state authorities. So central government who is responsible, state government who is responsible for regulations and coordination of mental health services. Think that central government has formulated a national mental health program, whatever it may be. So the state government also should go hand in hand with central government. Both any program at the center level has been implemented, means at the state level the state government has to take measures to implement that program in the state level. Okay, so both the central and the state government will be taking care for the regulations and coordination of mental health services. Next, moving on to chapter 3. It provides guidelines for establishment and maintenance of psychiatric hospitals or nursing homes. Already I have told what are the rules, what are the norms, regulations, etc. So anyone cannot start a psychiatric hospital. If you want to start a psychiatric hospital or a psychiatric nursing home, you should follow certain guidelines as given by the government, and you have to follow it. So here similarly, if you want to start in nursing college also, you have to follow so many norms, rules and regulations, and getting affiliation from Indian Nursing Council, particular state nursing council, and particular university of the state which is dealing with nursing institutions. So everything is there. Similarly, in case of psychiatric hospital also, there are so many laws which are governing the guidelines you have to follow, and you have to get permission to run a psychiatric hospital. Next is chapter 4. Chapter 4 deals with very important thing, that is admission of psychiatric hospitals. I told it is not like normal patients, so the procedure is somewhat different. Okay, sometimes the patient will be getting admitted by means of court, police and all. Okay, so let's see the types of admission. There are so many types you have. Let's see one by one. First is voluntary admission. So voluntary admission is request by a major or guardian of the minor for admission to medical officer. So medical officer makes enquiries within 24 hours. If the medical officer is satisfied for admission, patient admission is made voluntarily. Suppose if a person is suffering from mental illness, he himself can go to a psychiatric doctor and voluntarily he can get admitted. Suppose if he is a major, this procedure. If he is a minor, minor means less than 18 years, then his parents or his relatives or his guardian should take him to the psychiatric doctor and he has to thoroughly examine. So if I am going and telling I am suffering from psychiatric illness, no doctor will admit immediately by believing your words. They will be doing some mental status examination, history collection, mental status examination, whether the person is really suffering from psychiatric illness, then only they will admit. Or sometimes they will tell to go for some psychological counseling like that and all. So if at all it is necessary, if the patient is really suffering from psychiatric illness, then they will within 24 hours they will do all the investigations and they will admit. So this is voluntary admission. Next is admission under special circumstances. Here the patient is unwilling, okay, it's involuntary admission. So the patient is not willing or unable to make request, or he is in a serious condition where he cannot go and approach a psychiatric doctor until that I am suffering from mental illness. So either he can be unwilling or he will be not in a position to go and take voluntary admission. In such cases, the patient's relatives can bring the patient to a medical officer and they can give a letter that such a person is suffering from so and so illness, mentally illness, but we are not able to control him, we need admission in a psychiatric hospital. So after that also, doctor know the psychiatrist person, he will be thoroughly examining the patient, and if he found satisfied that the patient needs medical attention, psychiatric medical attention, mental health treatment, so in such a case only he will admit. Otherwise no, if suppose if the family members doesn't like the person, they will go and take under doctor, you admit this patient is behaving like this and all, means the on belief of your word they will not admit. They will do their own investigations, inquiries, history collection, mental status examinations, etc. If they found that the person is having really a psychiatric problem, then they will be admitting the patient. So this type of admission is called as involuntary admission. So next, moving on to admission under authority or reception order or order. So reception order on application, under this you have four types: admission under authority or reception order. Reception order on application, reception order on production of a mentally ill person before a magistrate, reception order after inquest, admission and detention of mentally ill prisoner. Okay, so reception order on application, reception order on production of a mentally ill person before a magistrate, reception order after inquest, admission and detention of a mentally ill prisoner. So we will see one by one. What is this reception order on application? So here application is made by a relative or a friend to whom? To a judge, to a magistrate in the court. Okay, so application is made to a relative or friend to a magistrate. Application should be supported by two medical certificates. Yes, that person is suffering from mental illness. So this application, simply if you are giving letter, it is our application, it is not enough. That should be supported by evidences, medical evidences. So two doctors should certify that the person is having or suffering from mental illness. So the magistrate obtained consent from the medical officer in charge of mental hospitals. So the magistrate, the court judge, magistrate, he will be taking consent from the medical officer in charge of a psychiatric hospital. Okay, it can be like medical director or dean, like that and all. Okay, then admission will be taken under reception order is made. Okay, so this type of admission is reception order on application. Next, reception order on production of a mentally ill person before a magistrate. So here mentally ill patient exhibiting violent behavior or arrested or detained by a police officer. Suppose a mentally ill person, if he is having some violent behavior, so he has to be arrested by a police officer, and the police officer should produce that particular person within 24 hours. Okay, so after arresting the person, he has to produce that person in the court within 24 hours of detention. Then application should be supported by two medical officers. Here also the police, if if they are telling, the magistrate will not give a order. So that should be that application should be supported again by two medical officers or certificates. Then only the magistrate will be issuing reception order. So this is reception order on production of a mentally ill person before a magistrate. So next is, so this is done by police. Next, reception order after inquest. Inquest of a mentally ill patient by district court. If the interest of such person, district court directs for admission, admission is made. So in the district court also, suppose if you are finding that a mentally ill person, suppose if the person has committed any crime due to mental illness, suppose if you are thinking that he may be the reason, or in such a case, the district court can direct such a person to admission. So in this way, the admission is made by means of this reception order. Admission and detention of a mentally ill prisoner. A mentally ill prisoner may be admitted into mental hospital on the order of the presiding officer or a court. Okay, so here suppose a normal person, if he commits any crime, he will be sent to a normal jail. Suppose the person who has been committed a crime due to mental illness, he will be sent to mental hospitals, that is psychiatric hospital. There will be separate prisons, criminal ward will be there, where the person will be receiving treatment for his psychiatric illness. So he will not be sent to normal jail. The same thing will be available as criminal ward in the psychiatric hospitals. So there he will go and he will get the treatment. Once the patient becomes normal in the psychiatric hospital, then again he will be sending to the normal jail. Otherwise he will be spending, suppose think that a person has committed a crime. So here the court has given some 10 years of jail. So here he has been proved to have some psychiatric illness. So instead of sending him to the normal jail, he will be sent to what? Psychiatric hospital, criminal ward. So there he will be receiving treatment. Suppose the whole 10 years, if he is not recovering, the whole 10 years he will be spending in the criminal ward in psychiatric hospital. Suppose think that after 6 years of treatment he has become normal, then that time he will be, the remaining 4 years will be the, totally I told 10 years now. So first 6 years he will be spending in the criminal ward. Later 4 years he will be spending in the normal jail. Okay, criminal ward in psychiatric hospital first 6 years, later 4 years he will be spending in the normal jail, and his punishment will be over by the time. So that time also you can admit admission and detention of a mentally ill prisoner. So this is. So next video will be from chapter 5 to chapter 10. In chapter 5 now we have seen admission procedure, the discharge procedure in detail. We have so many types of discharge also, that will be dealt in chapter 5, and up to 10 chapters we will be dealing in my part B video. Hope this video is clear for you all. If you like my video, please give a thumbs up, share and subscribe to Science Easy Tech channel. My previous videos link I have given in description box, suggested end card and icon, or you can watch our channel playlist for more nursing related videos as well as videos related to intermediate science subjects. Thank you friends, keep supporting to Science Easy Tech channel.